Alright, what's up guys? So here's a bit of a breakdown on my recent match with Tommy Langaker at the ADCC in Norway. We had a super fight. Tommy got silver at the Black Belt Worlds in the gi this year, and I watched it. So I'm going to break down a little bit of this fight and what I'm doing with it. So at the moment, there's not much happening here. A couple things I'll note is that I hadn't seen Tommy in no-gi before. He hadn't competed in about 4 years in no-gi, I think. He's wearing gi shorts, which is to give himself a lot better grip for the half guard position, as that was the position he was going to play during this match. Tommy's scaring the hell out of me with his warm-up there. And we start off, and I knew that, one, I'd only trained, I think, 4 times this month, and I was highly unfit, so I had to make sure that I used as little energy as possible during this match. So you'll see me, I'm quite relaxed through most of it, and really trying to pace myself and not use any unnecessary energy. Tommy's trying for a few shots here, but they were all quite obvious and easy to avoid. I think this is the one part that I felt I had the biggest advantage was in the wrestling, but there was no real point in doing any wrestling yet because I knew that he would get a negative point for pulling guard, and if I took him down it would be nothing. He'd be in a position where he feels quite comfortable anyway. It surprised me that Tommy did pull guard there. I think he was hoping to get a quick turnover, but he just got a minus point for that. So what you're seeing here right now is I'm using this thumb in the armpit. A lot of people have been asking me about this, and this is to stop Tommy from being able to elevate me with that underhook. It really takes away the main attacks for the underhook. So I'm just going to pause it here. The underhook's main purpose is to be able to move your opponent forward, creating space in between their knee and their arm that you can start ducking up and coming out. But what this thumb does is it keeps my weight as far back as possible, and it makes it really hard for him to push me forward. You'll also see that I'm using my hand to push my weight back as well. So the main point of this hook here, or well, this thumb in the armpit, is just to keep my weight as far back as possible. So you see he's trying to kind of use that, and now he's deciding to go into the quarter guard. Now, a few people have been asking about this. So what I'm doing here, to avoid him from going into the quarter guard and sweep me over the top here, which a lot of people do, I'm turning my hips as far forward as I can. The closer my hips face towards him, the more pressure it puts on this knee, and the easier it is for him to sweep me. So you'll see at the moment he's really trying to get underneath this, well, he's trying to hook this leg in a position and grab my other leg, which you can't see, to be able to pull me over the top of him and come up. So you'll see me really trying to point my hips as far forward as I can, still while maintaining this thumb in the armpit to avoid him from being able to come up. You can see how far he is still turned up, but still really can't come up. My weight's really far off him here, so it makes it very hard. So he does, I'm just going to go back a little step here, you'll see he does come up here to try and go for a single leg, but what he doesn't do is he doesn't block my knee here, and it allows me to escape. I use the thumb here and I push his head with my left hand away, and I slide that leg out just right there. And then we come back and we go again. Just going to move this down a little bit. So there's just a bit of moving around and feeling out here, and I go for an arm drag to the back, and he pulls guard again. I'm not sure why I didn't get a second point for that. It doesn't really matter anyway, but as you can see, I use this. I'm just going to try and slow it down a little bit. This far hand that you can't see is the one I arm drag. Okay, so I'm holding this hand here, and he's holding my hand, and I use this to shoot this underhook and grab the other hand. Bang. So I grab the other hand, and what you can't see right now is my left hand goes straight to his hip to stop him from rotating away from me, because he's going to want to turn away from me right now. He's basing all his weight on this right leg, and he's going to try and turn his hips away. But I keep that on his hip, as you can see the hand, and I'm trying to pull. He's like basically pulling me around him. And we go to this position here. I end up at his back, and he quickly rolls, which is probably smart, because otherwise I probably would have tried to take his back from standing. And he rolls to try and catch a leg, I assume. As you can see, his hand shoots under here, and I kind of just pull my weight far enough back that he couldn't go underneath me. And now we're back in Tommy's guard, and Tommy's playing a nice, bit of a variation. Okay, this guard's really interesting here. This I haven't seen yet, and Tommy was doing this really well. And it made me feel quite safe in a sense, but I was really not. See how it has this bottom leg here? Now this makes me feel like I can bring my left leg quite far forward. Usually I hide my left leg really far back, but when he brings his right foot in front of it, I feel like, well, his foot's blocking me, so it doesn't matter if he gets under here, which I was wrong, as you can see maybe later on in the match. So he's shooting his hand under that, and I didn't quite realize that if he does grab my leg, he's got a lot of leverage. So once again here, you'll see my thumb will be probably in the armpit blocking him. He starts trying to crawl his way underneath me, but I'm just trying to keep calm in this position. Trying to turn my hips a little bit forward, as you'll see in a second, to try and take away the pressure on that knee that he's bending. So I'm trying to turn my knee as far this way as I can with my hips, while still maintaining that pressure with the thumb here. Once again, he comes up to a top position, but it's really hard to do anything from there. The leverage is just not great for Tommy. He's trying to keep my legs pinched in between his legs, which makes it really hard for him to stand up. See, if I was Tommy, what I would have done is I would have grabbed my knee with his right hand and let go of the grip with the feet. That way he's a lot more mobile and can start taking me down. But because he's pinching the foot with his legs, it makes him less mobile. He tried to shoot underneath a little bit, flipped me over the top, but my weight was still too far back. And he goes back to the knee shield or Z-guard position, which I'm quite comfortable with training with Craig a lot of the time. Once again, so what he did really good here, and I was kind of lucky to avoid that. So as you can see, what he does is I'm just going to show you. Okay, so he tries to elevate me for a butterfly sweep. But he knows that I've got this hand free, so I can post it. But what he's trying to do is suck me in to stepping that right leg into a smash pass where he could hook this leg into an ashigarami position. But I kept that really far back because I trained with Craig Jones and Lachlan Giles, who use that a lot, so I was quite aware of that. But a lot of people try and bring that right leg in between here and smash, but in submission only or ADCC, you don't want to leave your leg there open for the ashigarami inside heel hook positions. As you can see, he's got that same position there that Craig Jones uses a lot. So right now, I'm coming in this position. What you'll see is you'll see me get this light underhook, and I use this elbow a lot to try and block this top leg, as Tommy's got a very flexible hips and he can bring that in. So I'm just going to show you that again. I do this a lot with really flexible people. So I block the hand underneath. I think I might have gone back a little bit too far. I'm sorry about that. And now I've gone forward too far. Okay. Now I'm doing it. And we're back here. So watch what I do here. I'm trying to keep his legs here because what I really want is I want to get control of the upper body here. It's very easy to pass the legs, but controlling the upper body is a different story. Okay, a lot of people, they control all the legs and they don't have any control of the upper body, so they get past the legs and then they can't stick to the upper body. Well, I try and get control of the upper body first before passing the legs because it makes him feel comfortable to allow me to get upper body control. Then by the time I do pass the legs, it's too late, which you will see later on when I do pass. So here's where I use that arm to block that knee here and this left arm to block this knee here, and I'm trying to basically stop him from being able to use his flexibility. As you can see, I'm trying to block that and look at maybe a knee cut pass there, but nothing's open yet. So I'm just feeling it out. Now this is that same position I was talking about before where Tommy brings that leg up here and he keeps that here, which makes it really difficult. Well, not really difficult, it makes me feel very comfortable to leave this leg here, and I think this might be where he rotates underneath and attacks it. Yeah, he's kind of, you see he's reaching it, but he's trying to hide that, which he did quite well, because I didn't feel too in danger there, but I just wanted to come back out and start again in a different position. Once again, we get to this Z-guard position, and now I'm trying to control this arm, because one thing, if they do have an underhook, not only is the thumb effective, but if you can pin this arm way out here, it kills this underhook. There's nothing he can do. You would just slide past to to Kazakatami. But I have an underhand grip of his, an overhand grip of his forearm. What I wanted is an underhand grip so that my thumb and index finger were on the wrist. At the moment, it's just my little finger on the wrist, which is not strong enough, and you'll see he pummels his head in here and stretches that off. So you'll watch in a second. I think he does that. He'll pummel his head in there, and okay, maybe that was a different time. Forget what I just said. So I'm trying to extend him away to get rid of his deep underhook, but he shot through with the right to come under my back leg again. And once again, we're in this quarter guard position where he's either trying to come underneath me or trying to sit on top. Now I'm going to one of my favorite positions, which is the Z-guard smash position. I don't think I hold this for too long though, but here I have a Z-guard position, and I have this, sorry, he has a Z-guard position, I have the underhook, but then he brought that knee up and I had to change. Now here is where, okay, I'm just going to go back. This is where he did a really nice, little subtle thing where he has his leg on, I'm just going to see where it is to make sure I say the right thing. Okay, you can't really see it, but what he's done is reached under this far leg, and he's done a good job of making me overcommit by coming too far forward, where before I was quite safe because I was making sure my weight was back here. And he shoots underneath, he gets my leg, he's just trying to push me away from him right now to make me light. And now he swings under, he goes to grab this leg here, and then he reaches to this one, isolating the one he wanted originally. Now he brings his left leg over the top and hooks it and grabs it here. Now this was a little bit worrying because this is the knee I had reconstructed, so it's not really strong, and I do get a lot more worried in these positions than I do with my right. But because it's so shallow, as you can see, my knee is around his groin area. It's not deep enough for him to really put any pressure on it. So he attempts to go for the knee bar here, but you can see his groin area is there just below where my knee is over here. If this was another 10 centimeters or 15 centimeters deep, then he probably would have tapped me. But it's not, but he keeps it there. Now wearing his pants is very hard to slide out like it would normally be quite easily. He switches to a toe hold. The only issue with this toe hold is that there's nothing stopping me from rotating away from the pressure on this toe hold, which I do now. I rotate out, and then we get back into the guard position. You'll see me once again, thumb under the armpit, trying to have this position here, because I like this position because it makes it very hard, but he was able to repummel his lasso leg, where he's very flexible. So I try and restart that again and come over the top, but he was feeling his nuts because I must have squished him somehow, which is a surprise because, I mean, it's like trying to find a needle in a haystack. But somehow, miracle bestowed, I ended up getting his nuts. It'd be a lot harder to get his shaft. So what are we doing here? We're in the Z-guard position. I'm trying to keep my weight back now, realizing that he has a very good ability to get under that far leg, which he tries to again, which is quite good, and I'm just far enough back this time. You see, the problem is once you go for a technique against someone, it's going to be in their head, and a lot of people like myself will always remember that, so I'm going to readjust for the next time. So you're better off trying something different or using that same attack to set up a new one. And I'm just trying to sit over the top of get past his feet. I always try and get past the feet because that's the longest weapon they have of stretching you back. Now I've got a nice tight position to a half guard, but he repummels that knee shield in once again, which makes it a lot more difficult for me to pass. So you'll see behind this ref's legs here, there is a battle for beating this knee shield. I'm trying to go over the top of it, I'm trying to go under it, but he keeps that there really well, making it hard for me. And once again, he pummels that underhook and goes into the half guard again. Exact same position. Now we've got 12 seconds left till points start. And this is when I'm really going to actually start trying to pass because there's actually points involved now. You can see my hips are facing as far forward as I can, which take a lot of pressure off that knee. Now I start trying to flip around to make a last attempt to pass, but none was successful. Now I'm just trying to squish in there and feel a little bit and see what pops up here. He has the exact same position. I'm just trying to figure out how can I get this leg out while maintaining upper body control, which I don't have at the moment. This is a battle, and I'm always moving. I'm never staying completely still. You see, I'm always sort of floating left and right and feeling things and seeing how they react to certain things. Now he tries to come under my leg again, which is quite good, but now he's got an underhook, but I've hooked his leg, which once again is another way to keep my weight back. If he could push my weight really far forward now, this would be a lot more dangerous for him, but I'm just keeping my weight attached to him, so he lets go of the underhook, realizing it wasn't really helping. For a second I passed, but I mean there was no control at all, so you can't even call that anything, but I did get past it. Okay, here's a good, now this is a nice little attempt I like to do is, now this is what I'm talking about, is I like to get the upper body control first, then pass the legs. Now if you see here, I sit in close, I'm not threatening to pass the legs at all, which makes it feel comfortable for him to, to grab me and allow me to grab him, which is bang. As soon as I get this underhook, now I know I'm attached to him, I start jumping up and trying to pass this leg, and I almost do. So I push that leg out of the way, I pop past. Now, if I was a little bit further here with this knee to this position instead of where it is, I would have secured this pass. But I'm just a little bit shallow here. I just needed it right here. And here it was enough for him to bring that knee back on the inside, but very close, and then straight away you see he brings this leg back in, which I'm trying to block, but he is quite flexible. Well, I did manage to block that far leg, but this inside leg is blocking me, which is very good by Tommy. Tommy is an amazing grappler, and with a phenomenal guard, so this is a real fun for me to try and battle. I love passing guards, and he's got a great guard, so this is a really cool battle. Now just sort of feeling it out, trying to get close enough to get my, okay, so what happens here is probably a little bit opportunistic. Tommy was thinking about going for a guillotine now, so he's going to sit up here, bang, and go for a guillotine. But what I do, which is really good, which I learned from wrestling, is I don't bend my head down, I keep my head straight, and I want to drive my hips in towards him here, which will take a lot of the angle for this neck off, and it'll put his shoulder in a really shitty position. As you can see here, see I'm posturing up, and then I go straight hips towards his hips, straight towards his back. He lets go. Now I think he's trying to dive for a leg here, but yeah, he was. And then I sprawl my leg back here. Probably should have capitalized a little bit more on this position here. Now he's inverting back underneath me here again, but I'm trying to sprawl my legs back enough to avoid him from passing. He's got a hold of my leg here. And no, he does capture my leg here, sorry. And he puts me in a single leg X position. And he turns this into a heel hook. Now, what should I do to avoid this heel hook? A lot of people have asked me about this. I turn my knee as far downwards as I can to take off the rotation. The more my knee is pointing upwards, the worse it is, and the more my knee is inside his knee line. And what I mean by his knee line, if there was an imaginary line between his knees and my knees inside it, I'm in more danger. So I'm trying to slide it out as well as point to the ground. So you see, yep, so I pointed to the ground successfully, which takes a lot of the torque off this now. So now he's trying, and I used my other leg to step off of this hook, because this hook was trying to stop me from pointing my knee towards him. And once I step off this hook, I can take most of the pressure off that. So right now, it doesn't feel like there's any pressure. Now Tommy does a good job of here switching to a grip on the ankle to threaten the ankle lock, but I felt here, I knew he was going to try and step up with this and go for a sweep. So I get ready to pop up and just kick my leg out really quickly, boom, and kick it out. And we're back again. Touch hands, really friendly like. My hand goes straight under that armpit again. I like to block that because from Z-guard, one of their main attacks is to get an overhook from this position. It's the only position that an overhook is super powerful is when they're in Z-guard. So that's why I keep this hand in there, so if he ever does, I can just stretch that back. I'll stretch myself away from him. So here, it does good again, comes under that back leg. I'm sprawling out, trying to avoid that. I'm starting to get a little bit, better at avoiding that now. He pulls a close guard, but he lets it go pretty quickly. He has short legs like myself, and I don't think we're built for close guard. And now, so I have a good position here to almost pass too. I drop a knee cut straight over the top here, boom. So I'm dropping that through. Now, if I had my body a little bit lower and a better attachment to his upper body, I could have passed here, but I don't. So there he brings that top leg back in and defends my pass quite well. And I felt Tommy was breathing quite a lot at this point, which was giving me a lot more confidence because I still felt pretty good. I have this arm here. Now, what should I grab this arm? I grab it the right way this time, my thumb and index finger around the wrist. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to bring my body lower here so that there's a better angle on this arm. The higher my body is up, the worse the angle here, the easier it is for him to suck that in. If I can get this angle really low, then it's strong in that position here. But I'm a little bit high, so I lose that quite quickly. Now you'll see when I do stand up, my right arm a lot of the time is right in front of my right knee, because I know a lot of the time they're going to want to shoot and grab this front leg, and as soon as they do, I always like to repummel and underhook straight away. I'll see if this happens here. Bit of grip fighting, I'm not really doing it. Yes, straight away. Okay, see how he shot? I'm just going to go back 1 second. Okay, you'll see. Okay, he shoots straight away to grab my leg here, and this arm is going to dive straight under this space here. This is what I call smelly armpits. You should never expose the space there while playing guard. Well, try to as little as you can anyway, because otherwise that happens. Bang, which is a really good position for me. Now I have a good underhook, but Tommy was great with he repummeled that the lasso here. Now watch what he does here. It's hard to see, but he attacks this arm really nicely. So he gets this lasso. Now I dive to try and avoid him from getting the lasso in front of me, but he got it there, and then he uses this to try and dive on an arm lock really quickly. Watch, he switches it up. I'm like, oh shit, and I pull that out. I just get my elbow line out, which is very good. And then what he does here is he shoots for a triangle. Now Tommy's so quick at these, like his attacks like that. So you got to be on the ball the whole time. He shoots up, boom. But lucky I had my thumb there, and I can push that out of the way. But you know, any given day he could have caught that. Now once again we're in this position. Okay, I'm going to go back here. This is a really important part here. Now Tommy does a really good job here of shooting him. Not that part. I'm sorry, I went back a little bit too far. Okay, I've gone forward a little bit too far. Okay, we're just going to rewatch this right now, because it's pretty nice anyway. This position here, okay, Tommy gets an underhook really good in a good position here. He shoots the bottom leg through. Now this is a great position for Tommy. What he does is he allows me to repummel this arm for some reason. Yeah, he let a little bit too much space there, and it allowed me to guillotine him, which if he had kept his head back a little bit more, it would have avoided. But because his head was reaching in, that's where the guillotine comes available. Now it wasn't super tight, but it was tight enough to force him to let go. And I could hear him wincing a little bit, so I knew that the longer I held that, the more he was lacking oxygen to the brain, the more he would get tired. And then we get that out here. Now this is where I think this is close to, okay, so what he does here is he wraps this leg around here. It's not really doing much here. I'm not really sure what his intentions were, so I'm not going to comment on it. But it didn't feel like it was going to do too much. I think he might have been trying to drag this leg out and expose it to attack it, which would have been smart, but he didn't. Okay, so what he did here is he repummeled this lasso, and I think he was going to go for a calf slicer because he reaches around the back of my arm. So he was going to pull, he was going to pull my shoulder in, creating a bend in my arm and using that shin to calf slice it. So basically bringing my shoulder and my hand together, and that would have really hurt. But I push him back with my left hand to stop that. Now this is where I get this pass now. Okay, boom. You probably can't see it, but I got an underhook on this side straight away, just like before, and I'm blocking this leg. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump up straight to a kneecap position. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to separate his right shoulder from his knee, making space for me to pass this knee through it. Boom, straight away. Okay, I drop that through here. Now look at the angle I keep this up, and look at how much of it's coming down like an arrow. And it's not like a usual knee cut where it's more like this. It's down here. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to push this knee out here to bring his legs away, because Tommy's flexible. I've got an underhook on this side. I've got an overhook on this side. His body's pinned there. I just need to be able to push his legs away. I'm trying to use my right leg to do that. And boom, I slide through. I hold him here for a second, and he was stuck pretty nicely. And I keep this position. And now there's a little bit of a confusing part here, because I could see we were over the line, so I was kind of holding it, waiting for a restart. I really wanted to go to a knee right position, then mount and try and get something, but sitting so close to the line, I was kind of waiting for the restart and didn't really know what was going on. And it was kind of just an awkward little part here. Then he brings that leg over here, gets his guard back. I look at the ref and I'm kind of like, you know, what's going on? Are we going to restart it? And he brings us back in. So it was a little bit of a confusing part. I probably should have just did what I wanted to do in the first place. Doesn't mean it would have been successful, but should have at least attempted it. And now we're getting towards the end of the match. And Tommy's trying to get something quite quick here, gets back in that position. I'm trying to turn up the pace a little bit to try and get past him again. So I'm sitting over this top leg here. I'm trying to push this through and try to sit low, but he does a good job of sliding his right knee back out, making it hard for me. And I'm getting this underhook, so he gets a, this is just me. I'm getting close to another under. Okay, so I do pass here, but he's able to turtle. He's blocking me here from hopping to the other side, but there's only about 20 seconds left. It's kind of like the end of the match now. Tommy rolls to attack a leg. I block that. I grab a hold of here, looking at trying to go towards his back now, and he turtles, and that is the end. So I hope you enjoyed this match. I'm going to try and do these for a lot more matches coming up. Otherwise, if you want to see more tutorials, go to kitdaletraining.com and let me know what you think of this. Take care. I've got to turn this off.